Ellen McCauley at Pray It Up. Now, so many people say, Ellen, I'm a little bit confused. You started this group in 2008, and you got down to 182 pounds, and yet you gained weight back, and you stand in front of this group every week, and you preach a healthy lifestyle. Here's the thing. I will never be cured. I know that now. I know it. I want to be. I want to be cured. I want to be in total remission from my desire to overeat. Might that happen someday? Maybe, if Jesus takes it away from me. I'm not going to make excuses, but for a solid year, I triaged emergency calls, at least 100 a day. People who didn't have food, people who couldn't leave the house. I was like, I was calling 911 to help people. It was referring people to Adult Protective Services. It was very nerve-wracking. I was worried about my 88-year-old mom. I was worried about my grandchildren. I was worried about my children. Anyone else stressed the past 18 months besides me? Now, you might say, well, Ellen, you always say when you're stressed, you should just ask Jesus to help. I did, and he did. Just because I put on weight and other people did, doesn't mean Jesus doesn't love us. Doesn't mean he didn't want to help us. Bob, when the phrase, "it is what it is," came out, he thought it was the best phrase he ever heard in his life. And every day, for maybe 15 times, he'd say, well, it is what it is. And finally, after a few months, I said, honey, you can only say it is what it is one time a day. So now he says, it is what it is, and that's my one time for the day. So right now, I want to say to you all, for those of us who put on weight, it is what it is, and that's my one time for the day, and let's let go. We are here. We could be hiding in our house. We could say, I'm not going to go and see Ellen. I'm going to just stay in my room. We didn't. We got dressed. Some of us even put on some makeup. We hauled our maybe formidable butts here, and we are trying to transform. Transform. Transformation is always a process of letting go. Letting go. And it refers to new beginnings. And you know, I'm Irish, and the Irish have a hard time letting go. And guess what? So do the Italians. And everyone's like, the English do too, believe me. Everyone has a hard time letting go. We get used to things a certain way, and that pandemic really threw us all for a loop. But we need to face that if we keep doing the old things, we will weigh 371. We need to let go and say, all right, there still is some scary stuff out there, but every Thursday night in my little oasis, I'm going to be with my peeps, and I'm going to try and get healthy and whole. And you know what else I say? We did the best we could. We did the best we could. And the most beautiful thing is we're here. We're alive. We're not on a ventilator. We're not, our family is not planning our funeral. It's a beautiful thing to be alive, just to be alive. True transformation happens when you are treated with love and positivism. What if I, for some miracle, got down to 160 and you all came in and some of you put on weight and I'm like, how dare you people put on weight? How dare you? Would anyone respond positively? And you know what kills me? There's people in my life, they're like, Ellen, did you know you gained some weight? And I'm like, I had no idea. Are you kidding me? I gained weight? Thank you so much for calling it to my attention. I had no idea. There are people who feel it's their job to tell you when you fail, especially if you had some success. Oh, no one wants anyone to be successful. You prove them right. Oh, she's gaining weight. I knew she would. And here's our opportunity, not for them, not for the naysayers, for our own health. And God is good. Our health is good. We're here. And those of us who are in some pain, losing weight can help a little bit on that. God is patient and he loves us. Let's be patient and love ourselves. Because guess what? 42% of Americans gained weight during the pandemic. 42%. And the funny part is, 40% of Americans were obese before the pandemic. Before. I'm not talking 20 pounds here. I'm talking obese. And then you add stress, lack of exercise, unhealthy eating habits, increased alcohol. And again, I'm not going to have people raise hands. But during Pray It Off, I don't drink at all. I have a few drinks at Christmas, a few drinks on Memorial Day and on vacation. But during Pray It Off, I don't drink. And now Bob was coming home. I'm like, honey, it's Friday night. Let's have a few drinks. And we sit at the kitchen table and play cards, and we'd have a few drinks. But I don't do that normally. You know why? The calories. It's not that it's a sin. There's too many calories in alcohol. But we use it as coping mechanisms. We use it because, and the funny part is, you might say, well, did eating extra stuff and drinking things make it better? Maybe at the time we felt a little good about it, but right now we're saying, okay, enough. I'm done. Anyone else feel done with that? I'm done. I'm ready to go forward. There's a few people out there going, I'm not sure I'm done, Ellen. I might still want some cookies and ice cream, but I'm here. That's the first step. And you know what's interesting? So many people went on anti-anxiety medications and antidepressants over the pandemic. It's the world. It is depressing. It is anxiety-ridden. And never in my life have I gone on those types of medication when I didn't gain enormous amounts of weight. And when I started Pray It Off in 2008, I said no more medications at all. And I've never had any again. And that's another reason why I need the group, because this is my medication. This is what keeps me not depressed. This is what keeps me not anxious. And you know what's so funny? I would never say to one of you, and I didn't tonight, I'm like, not too bad, let's begin again. It's okay, that's why we're here. Why can't we be as nice to ourselves as we are to everybody else? I'm so nice to everybody else, but to myself, like I'll look in the mirror, oh, believe me, fully clothed. I haven't seen myself naked in 2 years. I won't look. I take a shower and I go by the mirror. I'm only kidding, but I think you know what I mean. Just being here is progress. It is progress. Another thing is sleep. I had a hard time sleeping the past 18 months too. I'd be tired, I'd work hard. We really need to get back to the basics of drinking water, sleeping, exercise. And you know, so many of our normal coping mechanisms weren't there for us. This group wasn't there for us. So, I mean, from March until May, the only person I saw was Bob, March until May of 2020. I didn't see anybody else. We were in the house, and he was working on a critical job, so he was allowed to go and work on it, and he was very careful. I didn't see my mother. I mean, I talked to her, several times a day. That kind of isolation, we didn't even have our family. My daughter, Shannon, just flew from Vegas to see us, didn't even bring the baby because she was going through such family withdrawal. You should have seen her on the plane. She looked like Darth Vader. She had every inch of her body covered, and face mask because she came from Vegas. She was just really careful. And weight has a stigma. We talked about it earlier. So many people, and I've heard it at work, not from people I work with who are very kind and loving, but other people are like, well, I only weigh 140. I'm not going to get a vaccine because only fat people are dying from COVID. I've heard people say that. And then I pick right up and go, oh, that's interesting that you would say that because it's not true. Because it's not. And then there are people who still believe that the vaccine has a chip that the government is following you with. And I say, you don't think the government knows what you're doing right now anyway? You can't even go online to look at shoes, and the next thing you know, you're getting texts and emails about shoes. I'm like, what? I said, if you're worried about that kind of privacy, go to Utah and get a cabin and take yourself off any kind of communication. So, people at higher weights are at a greater risk for COVID. They are. It's true. Studies have shown. I'm not saying that to make anyone scared. We just know it. We've been careful. We're here. We're going to wear our masks. We're vaccinated. We're going to get boosters. Let's start with a modest weight loss. So if you weigh 200, say you want to lose 10% or 20 pounds. Not in 5 minutes, maybe over the next few months. If you weigh 144, let's say you want to lose 5 pounds. If you are at a goal weight, just stay the same. Establish new routines. One of the things that kept me from weighing 300 over the pandemic is I rode my bike 10 miles a day, and I was doing 20,000 steps. You see, my biggest thing was I can't eat dairy, gluten, and sugar. And when I gave them up for 2 years, that's when I got down to 182. But during the pandemic, I started having dairy, gluten, and sugar. And not a ton, but our bodies are in constant battle with ourselves. Because let's say your highest weight was 280. Your body wants to get to 280 again so bad. It's so hard to lose the weight, but it's easy to put it back on. Anyone here agree with me on that? Absolutely. So start with some modest goals, establish some new routines. We're here. This is part of our new routine. And there's some people who've said to me that they didn't come back because they kept the weight off. They feel very happy with what they're doing with their lives. And you know what I say to that? Fantastic. Congratulations. Other people say, I put on a lot of weight and I just can't deal with it right now. And you know what I said to that? When you do want to deal with it, the door is always open and you're welcome back at any time. I said, 2 people are here tonight and you know who you are because they said, I gained weight and I don't want to come back. I said, I gained weight too and I run the group. And they go, oh, you gained weight? Okay, I'll come back. So you see, I unselfishly gained weight just for you guys. I want you to know that. Also, emphasize your health and not your weight. And here's something else. Everyone's a little different, I noticed. You know, when I went back to the office in March of 2021, people just aren't as friendly. There's not as many laughs. I even said to myself on the way here, I don't feel funny. I don't feel like I can stand in front of Pray It Off like my old self and say a couple of chuckles and say things to make people feel comfortable. I don't quite feel like myself yet. Does anyone else know what I'm talking about here? I just feel a little off. But then I prayed about it and said, Lord, I love these people. They love me. Help me just to reach out. And I just feel so at ease now. And I'm so happy about it. I don't feel nervous. And that's why we have to give each other a little space. So in the small group, if you're feeling like having a little hard time getting going, wait till next week. It's all good. And make it a family affair. You know, one of the things that Bob and I have is each other, and that makes it nice. If you have children at home that have weight issues too, eat healthy, the whole family. If you have thin children, doesn't mean that you have to eat the same snacks as them. I'm going to stop right there, Bob.